Shout out to everybody. Let's see what's going on. It's confirmation hearing with Tulsi Gabbard. First of all, I seen can't really say his name on these platforms out here. You know what I mean? But the guy that's supposed to be head of the FDA, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had his confirmation hearing, and I think he did pretty good at his confirmation hearing. You know, so shout out to him. As far as Tulsi Gabbard, I haven't seen this one yet. A lot of people are talking about it. It's circulating around on social media. So we about to see exactly what is happening with the Tulsi Gabbard confirmation hearing.
A moment of silent.
What's up, who's it? Froggy Meggsy, what's up with you?
Prayer and reflection for the souls lost. But I want to stress that Ms. Gabbard has been and will be treated with the exact same respect, consideration, and professionalism that we extended to every nominee. No more, no less, no better, no worse. That's how we treated CIA Director John Ratcliffe just 2 weeks ago, and how we have treated DNI nominees like Avril Haines and Dan Coates in the past. For instance, Ms. Gabbard has conducted dozens of office meetings with senators. She has completed.
The super chat is open if y'all want to interrupt. Shout out to Froggy Meggsy. She is the moderator in the chat. You know what I mean? Shout out to her.
Committee's standard questionnaire. She has answered 247 questions in writing.
Oh,
this is all
God.
in key.
Yo, she up there in all white. She is ready. Let's see this.
Keeping with the committee's customs, precedents, and rules. Before I address the important work ahead at the DNI, please also let me make two observations about some of the accusations about Ms. Gabbard. First, I'm dismayed by the attacks on Ms. Gabbard's patriotism and her loyalty to our country. For instance, Hillary Clinton has smeared Ms. Gabbard, calling her an asset of a foreign nation. Let me remind everyone that Ms. Gabbard has served in our Army for more than 2 decades. She has multiple combat tours, and she still wears the uniform to this day. She has undergone 5 FBI background checks. I spent more than 2 hours last week reviewing the latest, putting eyes on more than 300 pages. It's clean as a whistle. It's fine that we have differences of opinions on policies and programs. I suspect some of my Republican colleagues might disagree with some of Mrs. Gabbard's votes in the House of Representatives. Just as I suspect that some of my Democratic colleagues might criticize Ms. Gabbard's statements and action.
Hey, Mike Ferranda, what's up, man? You know what they did yesterday? We had to cut that. We had to cut that live. We didn't really even do anything, but you know, certain things, I guess, across a lot of social media, man, like they don't want a lot of stuff talked about. So we try to respect, you know what I'm saying, things. But see this. Hit the like button if y'all can.
Since she saw the light and left the Democratic Party. But I sincerely hope that no one today will impugn Ms. Gabbard's patriotism and integrity. Second, I can only laugh at some critics who say that Ms. Gabbard has unconventional views. No doubt she has some unconventional views, like her criticism of Barack Obama's regime change interventions in Egypt and Libya. But guess what? I opposed the disastrous interventions in Egypt and Libya as well. Mubarak was a long time.
That's the thing, man. Like once you join a party, they are gonna ride with you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so they're gonna support everything that she's got going on.
American partner, and Egypt was a linchpin of our security system in the Middle East. Gaddafi had been scared straight after we toppled the Taliban and Saddam Hussein. He turned over his weapons of mass destruction and cooperated against terrorists. In return, we had lifted sanctions and reestablished diplomatic ties. But President Obama intervened to topple both regimes. And what came next? The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and dangerous chaos in Libya to this day. No one ever mistook
Hold on. Hey, Mike Ferranda, hit the like button if you can, bro. He said meaning she looks good. Yo, this is Tulsi Gabbard, bro. You know. You already know what it is.
Mubarak or Gaddafi as the little sisters of the poor. But let's not kid ourselves. The world is a dangerous place, not a church picnic. Ms. Gabbard understands this, which is why she also saw the problem with regime change interventions in these places. The vast number of governments throughout history and still today are not democratic. We may wish it were different and we can work to improve it, but that's the way the world is. If we only befriended nations that shared our system of government and our social and cultural sensibilities, well, we wouldn't have many friends. In a fallen world, we have to take our friends where we find them.
Appreciate you, my friend. He said, I'm at physical therapy watching. Shout out to you, bro.
No question, stable democracies make the most stable friends. But what matters in the end is less whether a country is democratic or non-democratic, and more whether the country is pro-American or anti-American. I'll confess that those views may be somewhat unconventional, but look at where conventional thinking has got us.
Exactly.
Maybe Washington could use a little more unconventional thinking.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence could use more unconventional thinking. Ms. Gabbard, I submit that if confirmed, the measure of your success will largely depend on whether you can return the ODNI to its original size, scope, and mission. When Congress created the ODNI, we intended to put one office in charge to manage the different agencies of the intelligence community. Congress intended the ODNI to be a very lean organization that would use small staffs.
Hey, what are you, my friend? I know you don't want to put your business out here, but what are you? What happened? I know you say you in physical therapy. What happened though?
To execute specific tasks. Congress in no way wanted yet another unruly bureaucracy layered on top of an already bureaucratic intelligence community. Unfortunately, 20 years later, that's exactly what the ODNI has become. Incredibly, the ODNI now is now larger than any agencies it was established to manage. It has 15 offices and centers, which have many subunits within them. The ODNI staff is measured in the thousands, when it should be measured in the dozens, or maybe a few hundred. I promise that's going to change. I intend to get personnel at the ODNI back to their home agencies doing real intelligence work, not bureaucratic make work. I also expect to cap the size of the ODNI. Ms. Gabbard, if confirmed, I hope you'll be a partner in these vital efforts. Another example of bureaucratic mission creep and empire building is what's come to be known in the intelligence community as DNI taxes.
Yo, she looks so comfortable. Being up there with all these people, that's got to be nerve-wracking. Like, the average person's going to have nerves to be going crazy. Frog Maxie said, are you live on TikTok too? No, because TikTok is, like, very interesting right now. Like, I should go live on TikTok too. I should do it. There's a lot of people on there, like, on TikTok. Let me see. But TikTok is like not real. Like, cause it's like, so I got all these people that follow me off of that video. I got like 27,000 people, 28,000 people or something like that followed me off of that video. And it's like TikTok will only show like a small percentage of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or blast you out to a small percentage. So it's not even real.
The ODNI levies these so-called taxes on other agencies, shifting and directing funds away from the intelligence community's core mission to the whims and fancies of any particular DNI. That practice, which seems to have grown and run rampant under Director Haynes, is also going to stop. Ms. Gabbard, if confirmed, you have a lot of work ahead of you. And as chairman of this committee, I'm committed to ensuring that we see it all the way through. At this moment, I'll now recognize Senator Risch for a brief statement.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that.
Shout out to you, Froggy Megzy. So I'm live on there now. We'll see. But, you know, it's a lot of liberals on TikTok. So it's kind of, you know what I mean? They don't like stuff like this. Like, we just try to figure out what is going on, but they don't like stuff like this.
And I want to thank Ms. Gabbard for meeting with me and having the candid conversation we did on the issues. Unfortunately, I have to chair the Foreign Relations Committee. We have our first substantive meeting today on malign influence of China here at home and abroad. So I'm not going to be able to stay for the hearing. I'm not going to get a chance to ask questions. However, we are going to have a closed session immediately following, and the questions I have trespass upon the security of the country, and as a result of that, they need to be done in a classified setting in any event. So if I beg indulgence to be excused to preside over the other committee, good luck. I know you'll do well. Thank you.
You are excused.
I was going to leave whether you excused me or not, but thank you very much.
I will now recognize the Vice Chairman, Senator Warner, for his opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and particularly thank your comments at the top. I've spent most of the morning at National Airport. I know Senator Moran was there last night.
No, this
it's a
ended
horrible
up
tragedy.
looks like 23 hours ago. They're trying to get all these people like confirmed.
Families are still being notified. For those of us who live in this region, you know, it's always kind of complicated. We've got Virginia, D.C., Maryland, and a host of local jurisdictions. But last night, when this tragedy took place, and I happened to be driving by National on the way home and saw all the first responders.
Wait, I want to see, is she going to talk, or are they just going to like keep bigging her up?
Aside partisan differences as a former Democrat member of Congress to answer the call to serve in a Republican administration. The mainstream media has fought to paint their own picture of Tulsi Gabbard.
Wait, Joni Ernst is your senator? Oh, you talking about Tulsi? Who are you talking about? Who is your traitor senator?
But let's talk about the real Tulsi Gabbard, the woman and the soldier who I've come to know and respect. And I've known Tulsi for the past decade. Relationships matter. In 2015, then Congresswoman Gabbard met my dear friend Owen, who was a dear friend of mine from Iowa State University. Owen was a wounded special operations warrior who embodies the resilience and strength of our military community. Owen was the subject of...
Yo, her hair is like mad straight. Nothing wrong with that. Crown Vic said, listen to me, salute Piper Boyle, Ohio in the building. Shout out to you, bro.
An attack in Afghanistan,
on TikTok too,
where he lost his leg and his left eye serving in the war. After this attack...
I'm going to say this, all these like confirmation hearings I feel like they don't want pushed out. Like, I'm not saying YouTube, but I'm saying like a lot of, like, they don't want these out for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
During this attack, Owen was tossed into the dead pile. Owen, bleeding and in excruciating pain, cried out to his teammates, "I'm not dead." Thankfully, his fellow warfighter attended to Owen. But the road to recovery was long and hard, including a stint at Walter Reed Medical Center. During this time, Owen met a fellow warrior and patriot, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who became a friend.
I mean, her hair not bad. It's just like, look like she spent a lot of money on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and today they remain in touch. Owen prides himself in being a very good judge of character. And Tulsi, he speaks volumes of your character. Owen's final message to me before this hearing was, Tulsi has maintained her integrity throughout her career. She's the same gal I met in 2015. She always makes time for our old, broken warriors. And colleagues, I will leave you with this. You know me. I trust Tulsi Gabbard.
I don't hear nobody saying anything bad about her.
She will be honest with you. She will listen to your concerns.
Yo, this lady is clean. Froggy Maxie said I'm licensed to do hair. She is clean. Like you know what I'm saying? It looked like she is mad clean.
She will be receptive to your feedback. And rest assured, Lieutenant Colonel Gabbard loves this country. A fact proven by her willingness to put her life on the line.
Andy, I see what you said. He said Owen's final message to her is, "You're putting me to sleep." Somebody said she got the Jean Grey hairstyle. X-Men. Hey, I mean, it worked for her. She don't look bad.
To defend it. For over 20 years, she has put on the uniform and checked her political views at the door with one mission in mind: to protect and defend our great United States of America. Tulsi, duty, honor, and service have marked your life. Thank you for your extraordinary dedication to our nation, for embodying the values that make our military the best in the world, and for stepping up to serve yet once again as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Relationships matter. I urge my colleagues to support this nomination. My best wishes to you, Tulsi, and to your family. God bless our country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Ernst. I know that Senator Ernst has a busy schedule to include a hearing for Dan Driscoll, the Secretary of Army nominee at the Armed Services Committee. I'm sure Senator Burr has to go on a fishing trip or something. So we will excuse both senators from the witness table. Ms. Gabbard, before we move to your opening statement, it is the custom of the committee to ask a series of obligatory questions to all nominees. First, do you swear or affirm to give this committee your full and truthful testimony?
I do.
Second, do you agree to appear before the committee here or in other venues when invited?
Yes.
Third, if confirmed, do you agree to send officials from your office to appear before the committee and designated staff when invited?
Yes.
Fourth, do you agree to provide documents or any materials requested by the committee in order for it to carry out its oversight and legislative responsibilities?
I do.
Fifth, will you ensure that your office and your staff provide such material to the committee?
Hold on. So Christian Medwig, I don't think he likes Mr. Cotton. So you know what that tells me? Mr. Cotton is doing a good job. He's doing a good. If Christian Medwig don't like him, he's doing good.
Requested.
Yes.
Sixth, do you agree to inform and fully brief, to the fullest extent possible, all members of this committee on intelligence activities and covert actions rather than only the chairman and the vice chairman?
Yes.
Thank you for those answers, Ms. Gabbard. We now welcome the opportunity, finally, to hear from you in your own words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Before I begin, I too would like to start by offering my prayers and condolences.
First of all, I do want to say this. Whoever got Tulsi Gabbard is lucky. Yo, he was so smart, bro. This dude, like whoever he is that caught her before all the fame and all of this, I don't know if she had a glow up or she always like looked like this. She looks amazing. That's a come up right there. Tulsi Gabbard, that's a come up. Shout out to her.
Condolences to those who were killed in last night's horrific crash. Senator Warner, Senator Moran, our condolences and prayers are with you and all of your constituents. Again, Chairman Cotton, Vice Chairman Warner, and all of the members of the committee, it's an honor to be here before you today. I've appreciated the opportunity to meet with so many of you and address your questions and concerns before today's hearing. I know they've gone, but I'm grateful to Senators Burr and Ernst for their trust and their...
See, the thing about Tulsi Gabbard, like, you could take her anywhere and everybody's going to look like, woo, what was that? That's one. And then Froggy Meggsy said, quit looking at other. But then another thing is, you know, she could throw down. Bink, bink. Let somebody get out of line.
Confidence in taking time to join us here today. To my husband, Abraham, my family, friends, fellow veterans, Medal of Honor recipients, and patriots, thank you for your love and support. I'm honored and grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time...
Director of National Intelligence, that is a major responsibility. That's a big job, bro. Like, a lot of people see these director positions and they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna make a lot of money, or it's just I'm not saying she looking at it like this, or it's just like it's status and bro, that's a lot. Like, she's gonna be controlling everything with that. Like, one thing I've always learned, like wherever you work or whatever, like if you choose to be like a business owner or whatever you're doing, managing whatever you're doing, like you have to, like, you ain't thinking about yourself, you got to think about everybody. But on that type of level, like Director of National Intelligence, like what? Yo. Just imagine like all of the information if she gets confirmed that she's gonna know. So they have to thoroughly vet her and make sure she ain't, you know, because she kind of jumped party. She did, you know what I mean? So, but this is a lot of information. Like, it's a lot of trust. But, you know, for her to do that, because, you know, remember she kind of went in on Kamala, you know, when she was like running or whatever. But for her to switch parties, she had to get something out of the deal. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. This is major. This is major. And she, you know, the way she carries herself, it seems like she can do it, you know, but I don't know. That's just this is a powerful position right here.
Time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you." For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures...
She is mad comfortable. That's amazing. I mean, I said it earlier, but yo, that's amazing. Holden said, at what level have you seen Trump think about the working class? What do you mean? Like, hey, I welcome, you know, if you guys have like opposing opinions and stuff like that, I welcome that. Like, y'all can talk. But I mean, he's talking about like trying to get rid of the, you know, overtime for the working class and trying to get rid of taxes on tips and stuff like that. Like, he's already figured out a way to have close to $1 trillion like reinvested in America. You know, we had like Saudi Arabia like say that they're going to invest 600 billion into America. He did like a quick speech, and he had somebody get on the podium saying they were going to invest another 200 billion, you know, into America. And so who knows like what other investments he's got coming in. So I think what he's trying to do, to answer your question, because you said like at what level you see Trump think about the working class, right? When he did the federal freeze or the federal pause, which was blocked by the the federal judge. But you know, when he did that, what was said, like when the White House press secretary, she basically said, well, the reason why this is happening is because Trump wants to make sure he can like know where all the money is going. Remember they caught like 30 something million dollars that was going overseas for like condoms. You know what I'm saying? Like for other people like in Gaza, for them. Like, remember that they were just like talking about that. The White House press secretary was talking about that. So they caught like 30 something million dollars going out the door. Who knows like how much money is going out the door? Reason why I'm saying all of that is because what I think, you know, I mean, it may not be reality, but what I think when I look at Trump is he's trying to figure out how to save the United States with this budget deficit that we have, right? We got like $36 trillion in debt or whatever. So what I think he's doing, trying to figure out which departments don't we need, which departments are not effective. Let's bring down the cost of how much it costs to run government. And then maybe eventually we can do some of these things like get rid of taxes on overtime and stuff like that, like he promised. Most of his campaign promises he did within the first 40 something minutes. You know what I mean? So we'll see what he ends up doing. He needs time. You know what I mean? Like with the little bit of time he's been in the White House, I think he's done a lot. You know what I mean? He had the press conference with California, and that was, we seen everything. We seen the talks. We seen everything. The sparring session that he had with the mayor, we seen everything. And that was right after coming from North Carolina. You know what I mean? And not only that, like, you know, think about all the stuff that he's like engaged in doing. And like in the midst of trying to figure out what is going on with the spending in the federal government. So I think Elon Musk and Vivek, I think they're going to play a vital role in trying to figure out if they can really save the United States government a lot of money. And then maybe with all of that money, because one thing that they're saying, like his opposition, is like, okay, he wants to get rid of the taxes on overtime. He wants to do all of this, but how is he going to do it? And you already heard Trump say that he wants to go ahead and, you know, tax, you know, people like internationally, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants to tax people. So, you know, they like, oh, well, that's not going to work. Americans are going to have to pay more. So it's going to be this and that and that. But if he could figure out how to save trillions of dollars, you know what I mean? Hundreds of billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like maybe he could make something work. And then when he comes to the table to Congress, like, yo, we need to try to figure out a way not to tax overtime. Maybe if he can present a plan that's good enough, maybe he could do it. You know, so I think he's working for the working class. And it's like what he said, like when he's talking, the one thing about the reason why I think he's getting a lot of like Democrats to turn from blue to red, and a lot of African-American men, right, are starting to become Republican. A lot of the people in the younger population becoming Republican. The reason why is because he is speaking for the working class. I feel like, and you know, if you look at the history, a lot of Republicans normally don't speak for the working class. Like they talk about things like Ronald Reagan, like trickle down. You know, they talk about stuff like that, right? And they seem to be more business oriented, but they don't really include the working class in their talks. You didn't really hear much about the working class from George W. Bush, George Bush. Like you didn't really hear nothing about the working class with him. But then this president comes along and he's talking about the working class constantly. So people are looking at this like, oh man, like he might be working for us. And he's saying things like, yo, we want to go into here and figure out which departments we don't need that's taking up space. All of these people that are not even coming to work, you know what I mean? Or working from home. Like we can't monitor them. We don't know what they're really doing. Like they need to come back to the office. You know, he making people come back to the office so things can be reassessed so they can figure out what's going on. So I don't know, man. I think he's trying to make it work so he can come to the table later with something like a pat. You can't just come to Congress like, oh, we want to get rid of taxes on tips. Like that's like if you can figure out a way, you yourself, right? Let's just say you live in like whatever city you in and everybody has to pay you 18% of everything that they make. Right? They just have to pay you that. They ain't got no choice. They got to pay you that, right? If somebody comes to you and says, okay, well, we don't want them to pay 18%. We want them to pay maybe 14%, but you used to getting 18%. And you looking at the operating costs of running a city. So you're going to be thinking like, all right, so how is this going to make sense? I'm already getting 18% from it. Why am I going to give him a break? You see what I'm saying? He's got to present something to Congress. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think from right now, I think he's taking great steps to move up to something like that. This is my opinion. And he's got a lot of great people that he's trying to put in position. Right? Tulsi Gabbard, I think she's a great person, right? He's got Vivek, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, hey, he know how to cut costs. We know that. Vivek feels like, hey, let's look at what the FBI is doing. Are all of these departments legitly necessary? You know?
Our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers and millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS.
But if y'all can hit the like button, all of that, it'd be appreciated. You know what I mean? Because we still got to push the video out. It's morning. I know y'all tired. Just click your thumbs on YouTube if y'all can.
Strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran.
Melissa Taylor said it was either they come back to work or he had to shut down the buildings. We were keeping those buildings heated and lights were on and paid for, but nobody in there. What do y'all, I mean, I'm responding to Melissa Taylor's comments, right? Her comment. That now, if you run in a government and you're a business person and you see all of this going on and you know you got advisors and they're telling you all of this is going on and this is costing, you know what I mean, unnecessary energy usage and unnecessary this and unnecessary that, and people could just sit at home. He's like, no, like if we're gonna be paying for all of this anyway, and we got all these contracts or whatever, like they got to come back to the office. And people tend to be what? When they're in the office, more productive. If people are at home lounging, or like me personally, I feel like, you know what I mean? If I did that type of job, I wouldn't want to be at the office. You know what I'm saying? You don't want like a supervisor around you. You don't want people telling you what to do, watching you work and all. You don't want that. You want to just be at home scrolling on TikTok. Get to the work when you feel like it. You know what I mean? It's kind of what you want. But if you got to go back to the building, you're probably going to be a little bit more productive. You're going to get some reality checks here and there. You know, so I'm not mad at what Trump is doing.
Iran. Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence.
Wow.
Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election.
Wow. I cannot believe she just put that out. Did she really just say that? Shout out to her. She's not playing with y'all.
Dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass.
I would vote for her. I'm saying what it, if she ran for president, I'd vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Like, bro, let's just say she was a Republican this whole time. If she went up against Kamala, let's say there was opposing sides, people gonna vote for her. Can you imagine her? Like, she already ate Kamala up in that debate, right? Just imagine her and Kamala going back and forth. Man, just the aesthetics of it would look insane. Like, she looked like she just literally stepped out of heaven. You know what I'm saying? But she's smart. She got her facts in a row. But you know she's probably been prepped for this.
Collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible.
Wow.
Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this: this must end.
Y'all, something else. Mo said, I love how she's an all white. I ain't gonna lie. When the camera panned to her, I was like, what? My bad, Froggy Megsy. She ain't better than you. Shout out to Froggy Megsy. But I'm like,
President Trump's reelection is a clear mandate from the American people to break this cycle of failure, end the weaponization and politicization of the intelligence community, and begin to restore trust in those who've been charged with the critical task of securing our nation. If confirmed as DNI, I will do my very best to fulfill this mandate and bring leadership to the intelligence community with a laser-like focus on our essential mission: ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As the President's principal intelligence advisor, I'll begin by leading by example, checking my own personal views at the door, and committing to delivering intelligence that is collected, analyzed, and reported without bias, prejudice, or political influence. I enlisted in the Army because of the horrific terrorist attack on September 11th. And volunteered to deploy to Iraq in 2005, where I served in a medical unit. After nearly 22 years in uniform with 3 combat deployments to the Middle East and Africa.
Tulsi Gabbard, you got people in the YouTube comments going crazy for you. Shout out to you. Thank you for the heart. Appreciate you.
I'm now a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, where I serve as a battalion commander of soldiers in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. I served in Congress for 8 years on the Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs, and Armed Services committees. And it's my experience in the military and in the halls of Congress that have given me a deep understanding of the complex challenges that our nation faces, in both roles engaging with world leaders, in both roles being privy to highly classified intelligence. So I know firsthand how essential accurate, unbiased, and timely intelligence is. To the President.
Somebody said, what are you listening to? Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearing, Misty.
To Congress and to our warfighters. I also know the heavy cost of intelligence failures and abuses. Senator Collins, you led the creation of ODNI specifically to address those intelligence failures of 9/11 and Iraq's so-called WMDs. The need for the ODNI under strong leadership still exists today. If confirmed, I'll bring my experience and fresh eyes to leading the intelligence community. And my day one priorities will be to assess the global threat environment, identify where gaps in our intelligence exist, integrate intelligence elements, increase information sharing, and ensure that unbiased, apolitical, objective collection and analysis.
How much do they make? Director of National Intelligence. Let me see. I mean, she already like making crazy money. Her YouTube she does like 1 million views a video. So you know she's rich. Let me see. Director of National Intelligence. See how much we paying her. So she would be making Director of National Intelligence salary. What? Wait, no. She doing all that and she make it, I think like 165,000. Wait, no. 134,000. 134,000 to 196,000. That's a lot of work for that. I don't know. It's a lot of work for that.
To support the president and policymakers' decision-making occur. I'll work to end the political.
Misty said it's so refreshing to see so many educated men not brainwashed by mainstream media. It's hard not for people to be brainwashed by mainstream media. They like control most of the outlets. So it's like you talk to people, they're like, well, did you listen to the Breakfast Club? Did you listen to The View? I'm like, man, you guys gotta look outside of that. Did you look at CNN, MSNBC? You gotta look outside. It's like they've got so many stations. So did you listen to Stephen A. Smith? Like he's like talks about sports. Now he's like a political commentator. Like it's so difficult for people to just keep focused because like on a Republican side, you don't have as many like outlets. Like they don't. That's the issue. What's up, Maria Brown?
Politicization of the intelligence community and ensure there is a clear mission focus in the IC on its core mission of this unbiased, apolitical collection and analysis of intelligence to secure our nation. I'll work to rebuild trust through transparency and accountability. This is a national security.
Missy said, yes, they do. It's everywhere. Missy says Soros bought all of the media. I don't know who bought it. I know who bought it, but I can't say I know who bought it, right? But it's a lot of speculation on who bought all the media, who owns all the media, like what group, you know what I mean? But I mean, you can't really say it because they own all the media, you know what I mean? Or at least they can control a lot of what the media can put out. Like, look at Mark Zuckerberg, what he said on the Joe Rogan podcast, like he was getting, like the government was like calling him, like harassing him to take down posts that he said didn't even violate community guidelines. This is what Mark Zuckerberg said on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, go actually watch that episode. And he said Trump is like giving more leniency to where he could just not have to do all of that. You know, so shout out to Trump. But yeah, like not to digress, but yeah, like the left, like they have a lot of media. You know what I mean?
Pretty imperative.
And Twitter used to be left wing. Like, remember the Twitter files that came out? And Elon kind of showed you like with the Twitter files what was going on. And it's like you still can't even really say like much of what happened, but you know, it was showing that the government was like telling Twitter to take down posts and suspend accounts of like the opposition. So it's crazy. Like you gotta look at, even Donald Trump was like deplatformed, and that's a sitting president. He was a sitting president and they deplatformed him on Twitter. Like that's how left wing it was. That's why like Elon Musk just bought it and unlocked a lot of people's accounts. He unlocked Kanye's account, Donald Trump, everybody's account. He was just unlocking. That gave Donald Trump a fighting chance in the election. In my personal opinion, I think it did. Because, you know, Donald Trump has how many tens of millions of people following him? Yeah, people have Truth Social, but, you know, let's be real. Not a lot of people use Truth Social. You know what I mean? Because you got to do too much to just look at a tweet. You know what I mean? Like a Truth Social tweet. So it's, you know, I think it gave him a fighting chance. I think it did. And then he loosened the restrictions to where now you can see both sides, you know what I mean, of what's going on. And it's not just dominated by the left. So I think what Elon Musk did was, I think it was incredible. Incredible. Because he knew what was at stake. Freedom of speech was at stake, I feel like. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm just saying what I feel like. We heard Hillary Clinton talking about social media and Twitter needing government regulation. You know what I mean? Like we heard her say it. You know what I mean? We heard Kamala Harris say it. John Kerry said it. You know what I mean? So we know where the country was heading. You know, they were about to ban TikTok, all of that. So you know,
And I'll work to assess and address
I seen all of that. Misty, I seen all of that. I'm like, no, we can't. We at least need to have some kind of leniency to be able to talk. You know what I mean? Like when Joe Biden administration went after TikTok. Like I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But then look who signing executive orders to help TikTok. Trump.
efficiencies, redundancies, and effectiveness across ODNI to ensure focus of personnel and resources is on our core mission of national security. Now, in my meetings that I've had with many of you, you expressed bipartisan frustration about recent intelligence failures as well as the lack of
No, Elon Musk did not buy The View. He didn't.
responsiveness to your requests for information. Whether it's the surprise October
Let me show you, just so you know. Because I seen the rumors going around earlier. I just want to show y'all, you know, this is Reuters, right? It said, fact check, no evidence Elon Musk acquired ABC, fired the Viewcast. Online post sharing a headline falsely stating the billionaire Elon Musk acquired the American television network ABC and fired the entire cast of its talk show. The View originated from social media accounts associated with clickbait websites shared by the website Facebook accounts, which describe themselves as news or entertainment sources. The post featured photos of Musk and actor Whoopi Goldberg, one of the show's hosts. So it's basically fake. It says, however, the same fake news who posted at least as early as February 2024, while The View has continued to air with its longtime cast, including Goldberg. The show's latest episode was broadcast on June 3rd. You know what I'm saying? So that never happened.
7th Hamas terrorist attack, to the sudden takeover of Syria by Islamist extremists.
Shout out to Froggy Meggsy.
Failures to identify the source of COVID, anomalous health incidents, UAPs, drones, and more. If confirmed, I look forward to working with you to address these issues. Ensuring the safety, security.
Hit 1 in the chat if you think Tulsi Gabbard should be confirmed. Hit 2 in the chat if you think she should not be confirmed. Shout out to Amama Magazine. She helped me get 100,000 subscribers by reminding people to hit the like button, all that. You know what I'm saying? It helped out a lot. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Amama Magazine. I couldn't have done that without her. Appreciate her.
And freedom of the American people is a mandate of leadership that rises above partisan politics. If confirmed, my commitment to the president, to you, and to the American people is this: I will do my very best to find the truth, no matter where it leads, and share that truth with President Trump, his advisors, and you in Congress.
Oh, I seen somebody said that Trump is working to fulfill the no tax on tips to introduce a bill. Let me show y'all this. This is my president at work. Said Trump administration looks to fulfill no tax on tips campaign promise. It's like a video about it, Fox News. But
Providing you with that unbiased, timely, and accurate intelligence as you make the tough decisions that'll impact the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. Now, before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home.
let me see this. Said President Trump continues to push for no tax on tips, Washington. While President Donald Trump continues to call for an end to federal taxes on tips, lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are trying to put that into action, especially Congress members from Nevada, which has the nation's highest concentration of tip workers. I support no taxes on tips, but I think it has to be done in a fair way, Republican Dina Titus said. Congresswoman Dina Titus says it should come with a minimum wage raise. She's co-sponsoring the TIPS Act to do that. You've got to be sure that employers do not shift the burden just to tips for income. Yeah, I mean, like, these employers are kind of wilding, bro. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, when I went to Europe, it's like what was it? Geneva, Switzerland. I went to like Italy, all of that, like Lake Como, Milan, like Italy, Genoa, Italy. Like it's not a tipping culture. Like here, like even when I went to Zurich, Switzerland, they were kind of looking at me weird when I was like wanting to tip, like you know what I mean, tip the waitresses and stuff like that. They was kind of looking like, what is you doing? Because they make enough money to where they good. You know what I mean? Like they actually get weirded out when you do that. But then you come back to America and you look, and it's just like they always asking you for money. You go to the grocery store, they like, oh, you want to donate to the Red Cross? You want to donate to it's like, come on, bruh. Like, can I just spend my money? What are y'all asking me for, like, every dollar? It's always a no. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna. Then, like, I ordered, and I don't want to be saying nothing about Chili. Shout out to them, but because I don't want them to put nothing in my food. Shout out. You know what I mean? But I ordered some food from Chili's, like, online, bro. And they like are trying to force you to tip when you ordering takeout. If I'm coming to pick the food up, how are you trying to make me pay a tip? Like, are you crazy? I thought that was like lunacy. I'm not gonna pay you a tip. So you have to like fight with the website in order for them not to like tip you. It's like they try to like charge you tips on you go get boba tea. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, yo, how much you want to tip? Like, what? This is crazy. Y'all got to chill with this tipping culture. It's like they don't want to pay these employees nothing. They want to put it all on the consumer. Y'all raising prices and putting on the consumer, and y'all want us to pay for y'all employees while y'all pocket y'all millions. That's crazy. Yeah, Froggy makes it. The boba tea, they want tips with it. That's wild. I'm surprised gas station pumps ain't asking for tips now. Yeah, we know you pumped your own gas, but go ahead, give me 10%. America be wildin'. Like, no.
You may hear lies and smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country. Those who oppose my
But then
nomination.
they be catching all them nice people like, okay. It be working like for like these nice people. Like, I'm not nice. I'm very comfortable with not being a nice person. Very comfortable. I will say no quick. Like, that's a word that you are allowed to use. I'm not a people pleaser. I will say no. Like, if you keep asking me to like, no, won't y'all donate? So what? I'm gonna donate my money and you get a tax break from my money? Like, no, if I want to donate, I'm gonna donate myself and get my own tax break. These companies be playing people, bro. And they be like, okay. Like, no.
Imply that I am loyal to something
You
or
already gotta give a low. I mean, you ain't really tipping when you're buying a house. They getting commissions off of y'all. Buying a car, you getting a commission and all. Before you get your keys to your car, go ahead and hit that tip real quick. America's crazy.
someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States, accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters. The same tactic was used against President Trump and failed. The American people elected President Trump with a decisive victory and mandate for change.
Hey, Tish said, Tish83 said it's because tips are the service pay. I understand that. Like, if I'm gonna, if I'm coming to the restaurant and I'm getting a to-go order, right? Like, if I go to Maggiano's, it's in Nashville, it's like an Italian place. If I'm trying to get some food to go, I'm about to go to work or something, I want to get some food to go, I'm not tipping you. Like, I'm walking in there getting my food, I'm not tipping you for that. I'm not doing it. I don't care. If I sit down to eat, yes. And you gotta like bring me water and bring me soda, yes. I'm gonna tip you, I'm gonna tip you well. But no, if I'm coming to pick my pizza up, you're not getting a tip. There's like mad places in Nashville, Tennessee. If you pick your food up, they want you to tip. I'm not doing it. They're crazy. I don't care. Pay the people at the register more. I'm not about to be paying for that. I already got to come up here, and I got a Tesla. I got 2 of them. Waste my electricity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to do DoorDash. I've never DoorDashed in my life. I'm cheap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to pick my food up.
The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet. I have no love for Assad or Gaddafi or any dictator. I just hate Al-Qaeda. I hate that.
Yeah, hey, Kenneth just said something. He's in the comment section on YouTube. He said, dude, in Oregon, you can't pump your own gas and usually have to tip. I live in Norcal, and it's weird, man. I cross over the border. Some places, like, you can't, like, I went to, it was some years ago, I went to, like, New Jersey, and, like, they pump your gas for you. I was like, what is it? Like, they wouldn't even let you pump gas. So it's like, you gotta, it's like, what? Like, imagine if you, like, really ain't got money all like that. Everybody ain't rich. And you living in New Jersey, like, it's crazy expensive out there. So it's like, you going through all of this, and you gotta tip these people. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, y'all don't trust people to pump their own gas. That is insane.
We have leaders who cozy up to Islamist extremists, minimizing them to so-called rebels. As Jake Sullivan said to Hillary Clinton, quote, Al-Qaeda is on our side in Syria. Well, Syria's
Exactly. Hold up. So Mo said maybe if you were ordering like 100 boxes of pizza. If I got a crazy order, which is almost never, but if I'm ordering something crazy, even if I'm like, yeah, if I'm ordering something crazy, I'll give a tip. Cause it's like, yo, y'all gotta take all y'all time to, like, from what y'all doing to fulfill 50 boxes of pizza for my Ninja Turtle friends, right? So if y'all got to do all of that, all right. But other than that, no, I'm not about to be giving you tips for every little thing.
is now controlled by an Al-Qaeda offshoot. HTS.
Then this is how they'll play you in America, right? They'll add gratuity. They just add it. Then they want you to tip on top of that. That is crazy, bruh. America is crazy. And you wonder why people be struggling. Like, like, these companies need to pay people more money. That's what they need to do, and stop playing. So I stopped going on Carnival cruises. You about to get off the cruise. They like, what? We ain't letting you off this ship. Why? Like, what? I just paid for a trip. I ain't do nothing. They like, you owe gratuities. Get over there and pay. I'm like, what are you talking about? What you thought this was? Go pay your gratuities. I will never forget the first time I went on a Carnival cruise. I was like, well, y'all can just make me pay, like, tips? Yes. You know what I'm saying? But they let your boy, like, slide the first time I went on Carnival. I was arguing them up and down. I'm like, I didn't already pay y'all can't make me. This is illegal. This is illegal.
Yes, led by an Islamist jihadist who danced in the
They're like, you in America now. You want to pay that gratuity.
streets on 9/11 and who was responsible for the killing of many American service members. Democrat senators in the past resorted to anti-Christian bigotry against some of President Trump's judicial nominees like Amy Coney Barrett and Brian Boucher. I condemn those actions as a Democrat in Congress at the time, as religious bigotry must be thoroughly condemned by all of us, no matter the religion. Unfortunately, there are some Democrat senators who still don't understand the principle of freedom of religion and Article 6 of the Constitution. Quote, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Unfortunately, they're once again using the religious bigotry card, but this time trying to foment religious bigotry against Hindus and Hinduism. If anyone is sincerely interested in knowing more about my own personal spiritual path of Hinduism, I welcome you to go to my account on X, where I'll share more on this topic.
I'm about to see how many followers she got on X, because I remember her account was going crazy.
If confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will continue to live by the oath that I have sworn at least 8 times in my life, both in uniform and as a member of Congress. I will support and defend our God-given.
Yo, she got 3.5 million followers. It's crazy. Yo, how did he get her, bro? Like, let me show y'all this. Let me like one of her tweets so it'll bring me to her page so you can see this. Hold up. How did this dude get her, man? What am I doing? Tulsi Gabbard. This dude hit the lottery. Look at that. Just immediate, like, heavenly. Like, yo. Tulsi Gabbard worked as an aide to Hawaii Senator Akaka. Okay. Lord. Shout out to Tulsi Gabbard. Man.
Freedoms enshrined in the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Gabbard. A few reminders before we begin our 5-minute round of questioning. First, a reminder to the audience, once again, I will not tolerate.
Just watching Tulsi Gabbard have to.
Disruptions or disturbances, either in favor of or in opposition to Ms. Gabbard. We all came to hear from Ms. Gabbard, not from you. 2 reminders to my colleagues. We'll have a 5-minute round of questions.
Oh, he said we all came to hear from Mrs. Gabbard, not from you. Yo, he wilded.
Not 5.5, not 6, 5-minute round. We will also have a closed session after this hearing in which you'll have another 5-minute opportunity to ask questions. Second, if any question, as Senator Risch alluded to, begins to approach the line of classified material, my crack staff will advise me and I will ask you to hold the question until we get to a closed setting.
Mr. Chairman, could I just inquire? I was under the understanding that if in the open round, because this is the only time the American people will be able to see this judgment, you'd agreed if certain members needed to ask a second round of questions in the public setting, that would be available.
As is our custom, if a member waits until the end of the opening round and has a follow-up question, then we will permit that follow-up question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Gabbard, if confirmed, you'll be entrusted with our nation's most important secrets. We're all entrusted with that information to serve the American people and to keep our country safe. Unfortunately, as you said in your opening statement, we've seen too many instances in recent years of people who were trusted with classified information and went on to abuse and politicize that trust. For example, in October 2020, more than 50 former intelligence officers, many of whom still held a top secret clearance, wrote a letter invoking their credentials to make false claims about Hunter Biden's laptop, but likely being Russian disinformation. Do you agree that this was an example of intelligence professionals abusing and politicizing their past positions and credentials?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do. And it is an example of what needs to end and why the American people elected President Trump to bring about those necessary reforms.
Thank you. Will you commit that no one who abuses his past position and credentials in this fashion will hold a security clearance in the future?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I want to be fair to my Democratic colleagues. Such abuses aren't just a problem on the left. Also in 2020, President Trump's former National Security Advisor, John Bolton, published a book in which he revealed sensitive conversations with the president on national security matters, including highly classified information. He didn't submit this book for review and approval to ensure that our national security secrets were protected. Do you agree that John Bolton's actions likewise undermined public trust?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Will you commit that no one who so abuses his past position and risks the exposure of classified information by publishing a book without submitting it for review and getting approval before publication will hold a security clearance again or be trusted with classified information again?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's move on to the topic of ODNI reform that I mentioned in my opening statement. Congress originally envisioned the ODNI to be a small coordinating agency that directs rather than replicates the now 18 constituent agencies that make up our intelligence community. Over the years, however, the ODNI has strayed from this vision to an organization that now publicly boasts nearly 2,000 people, more than half of whom are not detailed from an intelligence agency, but rather are career ODNI bureaucrats. They've even developed centers that are producing their own analysis. Will you commit today to working with this committee to restoring the ODNI to its original size, scope, and function?
Yes, Senator, I look forward to working with you and the committee as I, if confirmed, assess the current status of who is working in the ODNI and the function that they fulfilled to make sure of its effectiveness and elimination of redundancies and bloating.
Thank you. Do you support some of the policy proposals I mentioned in my opening statement about capping the size of the ODNI, eliminating ODNI taxes, returning employees back to their home agencies to do real intelligence work?
Oh, shout out to Celeste for subscribing. He said the drool bit made me subscribe. I'm sorry. Yeah. Y'all know when you see Tulsi Gabbard.
Work.
Yes, Senator, I look forward to working with you as we assess where the ODNI needs to be in order to fulfill its core mission and function.
Thank you. And in your preparation for this hearing and this important responsibility, have you developed any thoughts that explains the mission creep and the empire building that we've seen at the ODNI in recent years?
Yes, Senator, I've had the opportunity to review the history of the ODNI, to speak to Ambassador Negroponte, the first Director of National Intelligence, as well as others who have served in this position. I think there are a number of contributing factors to the creation of centers, or not centers, but offices like the recently eliminated Office of DEI within ODNI, and other areas where I need to go in and assess the replication and the duplication of responsibilities that exist elsewhere and some of the other intelligence elements that ODNI has oversight over.
Thank you. Colleagues, I will lead by example and yield back 1 minute of my time and recognize the Vice Chair.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is a first. Ms. Gabbard, let me be clear, at least in my views. I salute your service to our country, but I have serious doubts about your judgment. And those are some of the areas that I want to pursue. First, until you were nominated by the president to be the DNI, you consistently praised the actions of Edward Snowden, some who, I believe, jeopardized the security of our nation, and then, to flaunt that.
First of all, how did Edward Snowden jeopardize the security of the nation? Can somebody tell me that? It seemed like he was a whistleblower that let the American people know you're being watched. I mean, he didn't I didn't see anything too crazy that Edward Snowden said. You know, he's still like looking over his shoulders everywhere for the rest of his life. But I didn't see anything too crazy with him. Like, what did he do that was that bad?
That fled to Russia. You even called Edward Snowden, and I quote here, a brave whistleblower. Every member of this committee.
I mean, he was. You can't, hey, Mr. Warner, you cannot make me not like Edward Snowden. Like, there's no way. Like, I mean, I understand you government and all. Like, there is no way you can, like, make me not rock with Edward Snowden, bro. He can come to the barbecue, bro.
Supports the rights of legal whistleblowers. But Edward Snowden isn't a whistleblower. And in this case, I'm a lot closer.
Edward Snowden can come to the barbecue. What y'all think about that on YouTube? Yeah, he can come to the barbecue. You can't be bringing no cauliflower or nothing. But you can come to the cookouts. We rock with him.
To the chairman's words, where he said...
Yo, somebody commented on YouTube. Tish commented on YouTube. She said, spying on Americans. She said he snuck out a chip with proof on it. They try to find his chip from Edward Snowden. Where he at?
Snowden is quote.
Yo, that would be crazy if Trump pardoned Edward Snowden. Hey, he should. Hey, Trump, go ahead. Pardon Edward Snowden. Since Joe Biden want to pardon Dr. Fauci, pardon Edward Snowden. Let him come on. I mean, if I'm Edward Snowden, even if I get pardoned, I'm not listening to nobody. I'm not coming back here. Y'all not about to set me up. He get off that plane, they be like, oh, that pardon got somebody else's name on it. Come with me, Edward Snowden. You're getting locked up now.
Quote, an egotistical serial liar and traitor who, quote, deserves to rot in jail for the rest of his life. Ms. Gabbard, a simple yes or no question. Do you still think Edward Snowden is brave?
Now, Mr. Vice Chairman, Edward Snowden.
First of all, Tulsi Gabbard, this is going to take every ounce of your thinking because I don't know how I would get out of this. If they ask me that, I will be prepared for a lot of questions. But that one, I don't know. That's one of them catch you off guard type of questions.
Broke the law. I do not agree with or support with all of the information and intelligence that he released, nor the way in which he did it. There would have been opportunities for him to come to you on this committee or seek out the IG to release that information. The fact is, he also, even as he broke the law, released information that exposed egregious, illegal, and unconstitutional programs that are happening within our government.
Let her talk. Let her talk. You see how he tried to cut? She was like, oh, well, he also exposed illegal activities that was going on. Like, yo.
Government
Excuse me, Mr.
that
Gabbard.
led to serious reforms that Congress undertook.
Chairman, we got 5 minutes.
That is a fire way of combating that. She was like, well, you know, because he was a whistleblower and found out that the government was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, you know, Congress looked at a bunch of reforms and actually passed them. So, yeah, although I don't agree with everything he did, you know what I mean? Like some of what he did, some good things came out of it. Yo, that was dope how she answered that, bro. She confirmed.
Minutes.
We confirming her.
So I take your answer, you know, and these are your quotes. Brave, please join my
Shout out to
bipartisan
Froggy Mason.
legislation calling for charges to be dropped against him. Do you disagree that legislation was not appropriate? Do you believe he is brave or not?
Yeah,
Back those words?
once again, Senator, Edward Snowden broke the law. He
Ms. Gabbard,
also
I'm not
released
talking- we agree that Edward Snowden
that
broke the
exposed
law.
the United
I'm
States
asking you a
government's
question whether
illegal
your
program.
Are
Right.
you gonna let her? Are you gonna try to be like a 3-year-old? Or are you gonna let her answer this question?
legislation and your words are still your beliefs? Yes or no, please?
I'm making myself very clear. Edward
Ma'am.
Snowden broke the law. He released information about the United States
Ma'am, I've
government's
got other issues
illegal
to raise.
activities.
Ma'am,
If I may just finish my thoughts, Senator. In this role that I've been nominated for, if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will be responsible for protecting our nation's secrets. And I have 4 immediate steps
asked for
that I
additional
would
time.
take to
Chairman.
prevent another Snowden-like leak.
Ma'am, I would simply ask you again. I don't think you're going to answer. I agree with Tom Cotton. He's a traitor. You, for years, until you got chosen by President Trump, have celebrated this guy as brave. You've called for him to be pardoned, for his charges to be dropped.
So wait a minute, Mr. Warner, you don't think Edward Snowden's brave? Like he literally just like by releasing that information, he can never come here again. He has to leave everything he's ever known. And knowing that the military is on him, like hunting him, you don't think he's brave?
I cannot imagine a director of national intelligence that would say that kind of.
Kenneth Bobbier, he is a comment subscriber on YouTube. He says, stop mansplaining and talking over a woman, Democrat.
Behavior's okay. how would we maintain the trust of the IC and the contractors?
No, don't do that, Christian, man. When I seen him in there, he's in the comment section. He said, she just said he released info about illegal activities. Yeah, Christian Medway don't like this. She went Republican.
To work for. How would we maintain the trust of our Five Eye partners?
Shout out to Gator Kelly.
I find it very troubling. Let me move to 702. I know other members are going to raise this. Remember, the 702 is critical to our national security. 60% of the president's daily brief, 60% of the information President Trump gets every day in a PDB will come from this.
We may have to stop this video soon because they're slowing the video down. I don't know if she's just doing too good. Y'all remember we was talking about RFK and then the video like was stuck. Like, I got 100 and some thousand subscribers on this channel, bro. Like, I could do a video about anything. It's gonna get like at least like 2,000. You know what I'm saying? At minimum 3, right? Bro, we was talking about RFK. Tell me why that video was stuck at like 500 views for like 3 hours. Or like an hour and a half. Like, they was not letting that video rock, bro. Like, so, oh no. And then everybody was like, I seen all the people hitting the hundreds, the hearts, the confetti, everybody was hitting it. Right? All I was seeing on this end is just tons of confetti. Like, they like, we don't care about that confetti or nothing. This video ain't going nowhere.
You've had a long history of opposing 702. Many members of Congress have. But one of the things you actually done that not many have is not to reform it, but you actually said you wanted to repeal it. But now, whether it's, confirmation conversion or whatever you call 702 vital, and I'm quoting, because of significant.
So let's look at 702, right? We're going to look at what NBC is saying. They're kind of like, in my opinion, I think they're left wing. It's my opinion. I'm not saying this for sure, but it's my opinion, right? Let's look at this. Tulsi Gabbard flip-flops on surveillance program will be under the spotlight at hearing for DNI job. Tulsi Gabbard says she now supports surveillance she once tried to end. The issue could decide whether she's confirmed as Director of National Intelligence. At a state hearing Thursday, Tulsi Gabbard, President Donald Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, will have to convince Republican senators that she supports a surveillance program she once tried to appeal. How Gabbard handles that issue rather than her past sympathetic comments on Russia or her controversial meeting with then Syria Director Bashar al-Assad could determine whether she becomes the country's top-ranking intelligence officer. Yo, I didn't know she met with him. Yo. As a Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii from 2013 to 2021, Gabbard called the electronic surveillance program a case of overreach by intelligence agencies and a violation of American civil liberties. In 2020, Gabbard and a Republican lawmaker proposed legislation to repeal Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the law that allows for the program. In an interview with Joe Rogan in 2019, she praised Edward Snowden, the former government contractor who leaked a trove of data about the 702 surveillance program, and said he should be pardoned on espionage charges because he had informed Americans about a threat to their rights. I mean, she kind of right about that, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said tap to 10,000 real fast. Oh man, we got like 8,000 likes. Shout out to y'all. So I mean, like, if he's telling Americans that their liberties are being violated, I mean, that is kind of like something he can be pardoned for. You know what I'm saying? But the government's gonna look at it like, we the government, they the people. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be on our side. Like, what was you doing? And he was like, I think Edward Snowden was getting mad bread from the government too. And he gave all that up just to tell Americans what was going on. Edward Snowden was wow.
Significant FISA reforms have been enacted since you left Congress. Ms. Gabbard, what are the reforms that have led you to now support 702?
In the short time that I have, Senator, I will just note that my actions.
Hey, Kenneth Bobbier, he said Edward Snowden. Google it, people. Duck, go it. certain things, y'all. I mean, like, you know, use whatever search engine you want, right? But shout out to Froggy Megzy with the 199. That is my internet wife. Look, DuckDuckGo whenever you know what I mean. Certain type of things, you know, use Google, use like whatever you want to use, right? Sometimes you get some. I didn't realize until later in my Republican journey. DuckDuckGo low key be telling you what it is. You know what I mean? So I always check as many search engines as you can about different things. I'll say that.
In legislation in Congress were done to draw attention to the egregious civil liberties violations that were occurring at that time.
Ms. Gabbard,
Ms.
Gabbard, I ask you a question. Please give me the courtesy of responding. You said the reforms now make you supportive. What can you cite? Which reforms?
There are a number of reforms to include
In the new
getting
bill,
rid
in the new law,
that,
right?
that all of you and your
Gabbard, Ms.
wisdom.
Gabbard, my time is getting short. But I got to just tell you, after the reforms were passed into law in April of 24, you went on Joe Rogan's podcast in May. The bill is now law. And you said, quote, this bill took an already bad problem and made it many, many times worse. Again, in my mind, this is a question of judgment.
Yeah,
702 is critical.
right.
I appreciate this late conversion, but I'm not sure I buy it because you've had such.
But another way you can look at it is like, okay, she had a strong stance on the 702, right? But then, like, now she's a soldier, right? So she's rocking with Trump. He wants to confirm. He's got things that she's gonna have to carry out, right? And she's like, I changed my stance on it. You know what I mean? Whatever the president wants is what the president gets. I mean, that's commended. That shows that you're a soldier. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But I mean, I understand like these confirmations are important because if she sat down with Assad, right? Like who knows like what their friendship is, you know? So Mr. Warner obviously is trying to push doubt. That's his job here today, is to push doubt on her. But I mean, I think he's not coming at her with something completely irrelevant. Like he's not doing that. Like that's actually a good point. You know what I'm saying? If I'm being fair, that's a really good point.
A consistent position. Again, I know my colleague's going to raise these, but rather than standing up to dictators like Putin and Assad, you know, you sometimes amplified his talking points. I mean, I just do not understand how you can blame NATO for Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine.
Hey, Kenneth Bobbier, did you see what them search engines was doing on election time?
And when Assad used chemical weapons against his own people, you didn't condemn him. I can go through all the quotes. You actually questioned Americans' intelligence. Now, you mentioned a lot about trust. You know, and one of the things that I'm so proud on this committee is my friend Senator Burr said, we always follow the truth. I say in this committee, the most valuable work I do in this Senate, we have a bipartisan approach to intelligence. I think we have worked to try to keep the intelligence community and earn their trust, and frankly, earn the trust of the American people. But I respectfully, ma'am, I just don't believe
Robert Hodges with the $2 donation. Appreciate you, bro.
on your judgment and credibility issues, that this is the appropriate role that you should take going forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Gabbard, Edward Snowden does stand out as having done particularly grave harm to our national security by revealing top secret information, including sensitive sources and methods that
Edward Snowden, you was kind of wildin', man. Like I ain't gonna lie. I rock with Edward Snowden, but he was kind of wildin'. Like when Miss Collins start talking about it, it's like, oh, yeah,
that's jeopardizing agents in the field. So let me ask you.
You see what I'm saying? Like agents, and you know how we be watching the movies like The Bourne Identity and like all of them type movies. Like, you know, the CIA agents like in a different country and all of that. And he's trying not to be made and try to, like there's people in the field, you know what I mean? So yeah, I see what Miss Collins is saying now, like, because he's revealed a lot of sensitive information.
Question. If confirmed, would you support or recommend a pardon or any kind of clemency for Edward Snowden?
She already said that she would on the Joe Rogan podcast. She said because he informed the American people that their civil liberties were being violated. So that warrants a pardon. That's not like so she already said she did. So I guess she's trying to see if she changed her mind on it.
Thank you for the question, Senator Collins. If confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence, my responsibility would be to ensure the security of our nation's secrets and would not take actions to advocate for any actions related to Snowden.
So the answer is no. Is that correct?
Tulsi Gabbard. Oh man, Edward Snowden, she was your hope. She just shut you down. I know Edward Snowden like, oh no. Yeah. Oh man. How I would have answered that? How would y'all answer the question in the chat? How I would have answered it, be like, look, if I'm gonna be the Director of National Intelligence, I understand that you're asking me this question right now, and you have a right to ask whatever questions because this is a hearing, right? But what I will say, and like, bro, I'm gonna pull a Kamala Harris or something. I grew up in a small town. I would do that. Then I would like kind of end it with like, look, another thing is I'm gonna do whatever the president wants. You know what I'm saying? If the president decides that's what he wants to do, that is what the president decides. You know what I mean? But I think she may have like some kind of powers, like being in that situation to kind of recommend some pardons and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, I kind of would have skated that question, bro. Like, I'm just being real. I would have just talked about something else. I would just be like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I grew up in a small town. Was raised by a small business owner. Like, I would hit her with that, bro. You about to get hit with the raised in a small town. I'm not about to answer this. Ms. Collins, you are not about to pin me in the corner.
In 2020, you introduced the Protect Brave Whistleblowers Act, which would amend the Espionage Act to...
Yo, she supported the Protect Whistleblowers Act. Oh, man. Which kind of goes at the Espionage Act. Like, yo.
Make it more difficult to prosecute individuals who reveal classified information.
Who is this Miss Collins lady? She is smart. They need to get her off here. She is like way too smart. She making this difficult. She got the, you know what I'm saying? She got the granny energy, like the, you know what I'm saying? Like, she been around a minute, you know what I'm saying? She really looking out for the country type, you know what I'm saying? She got that energy. It's like, come on, grandma. Like, just let my friend, like, just spend the nights. She got that no.
In particular, the bill would allow individuals to disclose even top secret information as long as it's not done with the specific intent to injure the United States or advantage any foreign nation. Your bill would also have created an affirmative defense if public disclosure of classified information were made for several reasons, one of which was to expose gross waste of funds. I strongly oppose this legislation, which would hamper our ability to prosecute people who give our adversaries classified information. So let me ask you this, Ms. Gabbard, do you still support providing individuals who have access to top secret information with the ability to make their own decisions regarding whether that information should be publicly disclosed, even though disclosure may cause tremendous harm to our country or our allies?
Senator, we cannot and should not have individual vigilantes within the intelligence community making their own decisions about how and where and when to expose our nation's secrets. The intent of the legislation that you have pointed out was pointed towards ensuring due process for those who are charged under the Espionage Act in a court of law. This is a law that has been abused in some cases and used for political purposes. President Obama charged more people under the Espionage Act than all other presidents combined. If confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence, my sole focus and goal would be our nation's security, which includes ensuring the security of our nation's secrets. And I would work to make sure that we don't have any disclosures or vigilantes taking it upon themselves. There are numerous legal paths that will protect this information for those who feel they have concerns. And I look forward to working with you and this committee on making sure that those protections are known by every single person in the workforce and effectively implemented.
So you do not support allowing individuals to make their own decisions without authorization to disclose secret information, classified information?
Yes, and I believe we have the legal structure in place for those who have concerns to address them.
As you know, there has been speculation in the press that you met with Hezbollah, a terrorist organization affiliated with Iran. Have you ever knowingly met with any members, leaders, or affiliates of Hezbollah?
No, and it is an absurd accusation.
Let me ask you one final question in the short time we have left. With Hamas, ISIS-K, the Houthis, all the Iranian proxies in Syria and Iraq, Yemen, and Al-Qaeda all posing general resurgences in the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia, I'm alarmed at the lack of focus by the IC on this threat to our safety. We don't want to have to call you back to this room after a terrorist attack and ask, how did the IC miss this? Great power competition, China, Russia, definitely pose threats to our country. But the terrorist threat is arguably the most imminent threat, according to...
All right, Ms. Collins is eating. I'm keeping it real. Ms. Collins was kind of eating. I think she kind of got Tulsi Gabbard on that a little bit. What y'all think?
Inspector General for the intelligence community despite appropriations from Congress? And here I'd like a yes or no.
Senator, I don't know about the legal authorities, but I understand the essential role that the inspectors general play. And if confirmed, look forward to empowering our inspector general to fulfill their responsibility.
Good, because Congress either has the power of the purse or it doesn't. And I think in your answer to me, you recognize that you have an independent obligation to follow the law. I think that's a constructive answer. Let me turn now to the matter of spying on journalists. You wrote in your response to the committee questions that you support the Biden administration Department of Justice's policy restricting the collection of reporters' records, and you called for the codification of those restrictions. Will you reconfirm that position this morning?
I believe strongly in the First Amendment, which protects a free press.
So you will, in effect, say that you will continue to support the Biden administration policy to
Yo, this is Oregon, Senator.
protect journalists.
I'm not familiar with the specific Biden administration policy, but I believe strongly in the defense of the First Amendment.
It is a policy that restricts the collection of reporters' records, and you have called for the codification of those records. So I am going to accept that you're not changing your position, and I appreciate it. I've got time, I think, for one more question. While you were in Congress, you introduced legislation prohibiting the government from mandating that Americans' phones or apps include mechanisms to allow the government to bypass encryption or other privacy technology. In your written responses to the committee questions, you reconfirmed your opposition to these mandates. Is that still your position?
The only thing I don't like about him is he never talks about like whether or not he's a Republican or Democrat. Like, I don't like that.
Yes, these back doors lead down a dangerous path that can undermine Americans' Fourth Amendment rights and civil liberties.
You are being very helpful by moving so quickly. Let me turn to whistleblowers. You wrote in your response that whistleblowers must have clear, protected channels to report concerns, including the unauthorized transmittal of classified information to
I think he's still a Democrat, I think.
appropriate entities such as members of Congress. Do you agree that IC whistleblowers must have a clear path to this committee and that they don't need permission from agencies to talk to us? That's a yes or no.
Senator, the answer is clearly yes. I would like to state a few other actions I would take if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence is, number one, make sure that we don't have illegal and unconstitutional programs within the intelligence community, making sure that we enact security.
I think she did all right. We gonna end it here. I'm gonna let y'all watch the rest of it on Fox News. Shout out to Fox News. I think she did all right. What do you think, Tish? Do you think she did all right? What you think, Amama? Frogsy? Y'all think she did good? Tony Marina said, right on. At least people finally get it these days. Yep said, I don't know how many. Y'all going crazy. Somebody said Trump put her in position because she's a true American and loves this country and has no agenda other than our safety. I would like to believe that. Somebody said, Piperboy ever heard of independent like Bernie Sanders? Yeah, I don't rock with Bernie Sanders. I think he's kind of loony, my personal opinion. LB said, oh, hold on. Tish said, yeah, he is. Okay. Yeah, I think Wyden's a Democrat, but he likes her. Oh, okay. All right. Amama said she held up. She did good. Yeah. She did it. She looked really comfortable. Tish said, I think it's got to be one of the hardest to get through, but I'm hoping they pass her. They are voting in private, though. Oh, okay. For most of it, the first 40 minutes, it seemed favorable for her. I mean, now they got to get a little bit aggressive to kind of show that they're not just going to let her slide and skate. But, I mean, I think that Collins lady, she was eating her up, though. I ain't gonna even lie. Like, she was eating her up. Like, she had some good points. She had some really good points. I was shocked. But I like how she answered that. And the Edward Snowden question, like, threw me for a loop. Like, I mean, they probably prepped her for it. You know, but that's the thing. Like, if you go on, like, a Joe Rogan podcast, like, everybody's gonna see that and watch it and hold you to everything that you say. You know, but I think she did good. She looked stellar. She performed well. You know what I'm saying? She, very articulate. So shout out to her. But I'm out, y'all. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about that. They slowing the video down, y'all. Y'all know how it is. Certain type of stuff. I'm out, y'all. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about